So finalizing up chapter 4 is this idea. And what basically this is talking about is I want to give my employees or an employee a check for a set amount. So, for example, you guys all work for me, and I want to give you each $1,000 at Christmas. If I run you a gross paycheck for $1,000, are you going to all get the same amount of money? If I run you a gross paycheck for $1,000, will you each get the same net paycheck? You're shaking your head no, James. Why not? Yeah, your W-4s are all different. You're single with 0, she's married with 5, and you've capped for OASDI. So everybody's going to get a different amount. And some of you might end up with, $536 in your pocket. Well, that's not what I do. I want you each $1,000. So what I'm saying is that I'm actually starting with the net, right? I'm starting at the bottom number and going up. I've got to do my calculations going the other way now, right? We've always obviously started with gross and then subtracted all the taxes. But in this situation, when you gross up a check, you start with what you want the net check to be and work up. And the math looks quite different, as you can imagine. So I'm going to run you through the math. And then I'll give you one to practice. Okay, so basically this is the math. Stick with me, just kind of listen to me before you look at this. So I'm starting at the net paycheck, and I need to go up. So I'm going to write my equation like I always do. Gross minus FIT minus OASDI minus HI, right, equals net. And then I'm going to fill in the net paycheck. And then I've got to add up the percentage of all the taxes. What percentage is OASDI? 6.2. What percentage is HI? 1.45. What percentage is FIT withholding on a supplemental wage? 22%. So if I add up those three numbers, that's the amount of taxes that's going to come out before I get to my net paycheck, right? If I divide the net paycheck by 100% minus those percentages, I will get the gross. Let's try it. We're going to go over here now, hopefully, seamlessly, if I'm lucky, to this guy, and we're going to try this. So get your, oops, that's not what I want. Get your calculator out, please. And let's go through this example. So I want each of you to get a $700 check. Why is that not focusing? So I'm going to start down here. The first thing I'm going to do is pencil in what I want the net check to be. You've never done that, right? We always start at the gross and go down. And grossing up means now we're going to be calculating the paycheck going this way. So go ahead and just pencil in what we always do to get to a paycheck, right? Gross minus OASDI minus HI, blah, blah, blah. So what I'm really trying to solve for, like from an algebraic standpoint, is the gross. The gross is the x. Now pencil in the percentages, add them up, and subtract them from 100%. So add up all the percentages of the taxes, because if you take out all the taxes, the percentage that's left is what your net check's going to be, right? 0.062. What percentage do my taxes equal in total? Anybody? 29? Yeah. 29.65%. Now, is that always going to be that number? Always, always, always? Why not? What if the people that I was giving these checks to had capped for OASDI? If the people I was giving these checks to a cap for OASDI, the 6.2 wouldn't be in there, would it? And if I lived in a state that required a supplemental withholding like Montana does, you'd add 3% into that. So you can't just say in your head, oh, it's always 29.65. It's not. You've got to do the math. And if a person was also over 200,000, what would you have to add? That 0.9, right? So again, you can't just go, oh, like now I know that number. You have to actually go and do the check. Now, so subtract the taxes from 100%. That percentage is what's left of the net paycheck. So really, does anybody have a feeling now if you want the net check of 700 and the net check is going to be 70.35% of whatever your gross is? Does anybody see how you solve for X now? Is it a division or a multiplication problem? It's a division. So divide the net by the percentage, and that's going to get you your gross. Divide the net check, I want to give you a check for 700, by the percentage of 70.35%, that's going to get you your gross, isn't it? How can you prove your math now? Work it out. Please run the paycheck now. So once you've divided 700 by 0.7035, you're going to get the gross paycheck. You've just solved for X, right? Now just run the paycheck. You've got the gross, and make sure that it works out. Did it work? Is 995.02, oh, let's go finish this then. So 700 divided by 0.7035 equals 995.02, is that right? Mm-hmm. All right, so let's finish this up. So 95.02, you can multiply it by the taxes now, right? So how much is the OASDI, Maddie?
OSDI was 61.69.
Okay, and Gabby, how much was the HI? Okay, anybody got HI for me?
1442.
Okay. And how about FIT? 218.91. Now, do the math and tell me if it comes exactly to $700. Does it? I think it's off by a penny. Isn't it? Oh, no, it is exactly. It is exactly. Okay, we did something wrong.
Yeah, I rounded one of them.
Okay,
Yeah.
if you're off by like a penny or two, you've got to round one of the taxes to get you, because you're not going to cut a check for $699.99. You check for $700. The last thing I would like you to do for me is calculate my 941 deposit if I was writing this check to each of you. So you're my 6 employees. I'm giving you each a check for $700 at the end of the year. Thank you. What is my 941 deposit if I cut 6 of these checks? So, what did you do? Gabby, how did you approach this? Yep. And what number was that? Okay. And then what did you do with that? Yep. FICA. Yep. Right? Yep. Times 6 paychecks. So what did my 941 deposit end up being? 2226?
Yep.
Do I have a second on that number?
78.
Now finish this off. How much did these checks actually cost me to cut? Because then I wrote each of you a check for $700, right? Stephen, what are you puzzled about? This is OASDI plus HI.
Oh, but we're taking that from 100?
So now we're trying to figure out how much I've got to pay the IRS for these 6 checks.
Okay.
I've got to pay FICA fit times 6, because there's 6 of you.
Okay.
Figure out what this whole thing cost me to run in total. I just wrote the IRS a check out for 941 deposit. I wrote you each $700 checks, right? So what did it really cost me to give you guys these bonuses? See what I'm saying? It cost a hell of a lot more than $700 a pop, didn't it? This is why people try and just stuff some cash in an envelope at Christmas. Because when you run it through the payroll system, this is what happens. And then that number shows up on your W-2, right? Okay, last 5 minutes. And you can go back and listen to this. I'm taping this. And you absolutely need to know how to do this. At the end of the year, so what do I give you again where you tell me how many withholding allowances you want? A W-4. The W-4 is where you tell me how many withholding allowances you have. What do I send you at the end of the year? A W-2. Wage and tax withholding. I've got to furnish these to everybody. I also send them to the Social Security Administration. It shows all your wages and your withholding taxes. OASDI, HI, FET, SET, etc. I have to give that to you before January 31st. And I have to send them to the Social Security Administration and the state of Montana by that same date. I've got to do that electronically if I issue 250 or more. Everybody's, I assume, had a job at some point in their life, so you've seen a W-2. There's instructions for completing them. I'm going to do this flow chart on Monday for you, but just so that you're aware, you have to put a W-3, so you're the employer and you're doing them, you have to put a transmittal form on it, like a cover sheet, called a W-3. And that tallies up everything from all the W-2s. If you find out after you've issued your W-2s that somewhere like in your software something's screwed up, then you can, or you have to, correct them. And that's called that bottom bullet, a W-2C and a W-3C, a corrected. Nobody wants to get one of those in the mail because you've probably already filed your tax return. And you've got to amend your tax return and you are really pissed at your employer. Justifiably. Okay, I don't need to worry about this so much. Okay. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is that everything we just talked about was all for your employees, right? What if you guys are my independent contractors? Remind me what you filled out for me when you came to work for me as an independent. Did you fill out a W-4? No. You filled out a W-9. And all it gives me is your social security number and your name and address. I don't care if you're married or single. I don't care how many allowances you have. I'm not withholding taxes on you. But what I do have to do is issue you a 1099 at the end of the year. A 1099 miscellaneous. But you have to meet 3 conditions. You have to have earned over $600. It has to be for a service you provided me, not tangible products. So you mowed my lawn, you drywalled my commercial building, you configured my hardware. It's for a service. And you can't be incorporated. If you meet all 3 of those, I've got to issue you a 1099. No, it's actually a tax document that makes sure that you go report that as self-employment income on your tax return. It's not a W-2. So $600, not incorporated, and it was for a service. I issue you a 1099 miscellaneous. And lots of companies issue thousands of those. Lots of people come and provide services for them. It's the same thing. You send those to the IRS, and you have to have a transmittal on the front. Anything you send to the IRS or Social Security has to have like a cover sheet. And for these, it's called a 1096. Here's what it looks like. And really, you guys, on these, all it is, like, I get these because I do, I author and do, like, review of testing questions for like, Cengage Publishing. So at the end of the year, they issue me a 1099 miscellaneous. So Cengage Publishing, it's got my stuff on it, and then it's box 7, non-employee compensation. And that's the way the IRS makes sure that I report that. Self-employment income on my tax return. It's not wages, it's not going to go on my tax return, wages. And that's a little beyond our scope, but you have to do that. Okay? This person actually got, and sometimes I get this too, royalties if you're an author. If you're just doing like editing, it's a box 7. Do you have questions about 1099s? Okay. Yes or no? Okay. So on Monday, you're going to be required to run a paycheck. You're going to be required to talk about the difference in this flow. I should tell you something. You're going to, so on Monday for the quiz, you're going to need to run a paycheck. You need to know how to go to the tables. I can tell you the person had a flex spending account. I can tell you they had a 401k contribution. So yeah, you should practice that. Make sure you know how to do that. I can ask you to gross up a check like we just practiced. And I will guaranteed ask you about all these documents. When are the 941s due? When is the W-2s due? Who do you send the 1099 miscellaneous to? If you come to work for me, what do I give you to fill out if you're an employee versus an independent contractor? So you're going to need to know about the forms. With all that said, it's only a 12-point quiz, so it's not, don't spend your weekend on it. But make sure you can do those things I just listed. Okay? Happy weekend!
Lisa, we're going to postpone that homework, that practice